Hello, I'm Pam Nash, and I'm the President and CEO of the Exchange Club Carl Perkins Center for the Prevention of Child Abuse. I'm also a 2012 member of Westar. We have a project that we would like to share with you. One thing that we look at in Westar is leaders and business leaders and professionals and how to be successful in all of our business endeavors. And we had the opportunity to select one person that we really admired and really helped us in our career, as well as a lot of times the unsung hero. And today I have chosen James Ray Allison. I have known James for over 26 years, and he has been a business owner, a business leader. He has been involved in the Exchange Club Carl Perkins Center as well as many other nonprofits that he helped get started. I learned so much from James, and I would just like for him to share some things with us about business, professional life, and philanthropy, and how he got to be where he is today, and words of wisdom that can help us all. So thank you so much, James, for doing this for us.
Well, I'm just delighted for you, Pam, particular.
Well, we feel that you are a legacy, and we want to ask you some questions. So if you would, tell us first about what are your thoughts about business and what makes a successful business?
Well, you know, I've thought about that, and for me, I have to go back to our mission statement we had for our business for many years, and they continue to have it today. And it's deliver a quality product with quality service at a reasonable price. So if you think in terms of business in dealing with the consuming public, I think that mission statement really takes it all in. You know, what causes business to be successful? I think 99% tenacity. You know, you go into it, in my case, I went into a business which was small, one in which I really didn't have a terrible amount of experience in, and I learned as I went along. I don't know that college degrees would have made a difference. Maybe it would have. My degrees were all in music, and so it's hard to say. Now, I will say that once I got into the professional life that I ultimately was involved with for so many years, I did go back to school and did receive a degree in insurance, and as well as a lot of different other programs that I got involved with, and just learning experiences. But education was always a part. I never got away from continuing education.
Why do you think that your customers, because I know you started out small and you grew into a very large, well-respected business with offices all over West Tennessee, what do you attribute that to in keeping your customers and continuing to gain more and more customers?
Well, the thought was with the, in quotes, satellite offices, was that we would be closer to the customer. And I would say in our business, which was insurance, when it came to the homeowner's policy and the automobile, personal automobile policy, that's very, very critical because that customer wants to see you. When it comes to commercial insurance, I learned over the years that it didn't seem to be as critical. I found that people in Paris, Tennessee would deal with an agent in Jackson as long as, one customer told me many years ago, as long as my service was as good or better as he could get locally, and that the pricing was reasonable, then he had no problems doing business with me in Jackson, Tennessee. So in that sense, you almost go global. But I think that would be about the only thing I could tell you about, other than, you know, we tried to serve the customer. Tried to serve the customer.
Well, in your business plans and your business strategies, as well as the ethics that you use to run that business, was that something that was learned? Is that something that your family really instilled in you, or where did that come from?
Business planning is such, I learned in that continuing education, and I learned that it was very, very critical to the success of a business. You've got to have a roadmap. And I met several individuals along the way. Bob Huffman, whom you know, was very, very helpful to us in that he would annually work with us in development of our strategic plan and carrying that strategic plan forward. And Sharon Younger did the same thing with marketing and advertising. I learned so much from them just watching them as to how they operated. Ethics, I would say that I learned that beginning with my mother and my father. I was raised, my dad, most of the years that I was growing up, worked for the railroad. We lived out in East Jackson, and you know, it wasn't the kind of lifestyle that we have today. We ate breakfast together, we ate supper together, we had a garden, very, very large garden. Daddy worked hard. Mother was a stay-at-home mother. Most mothers were stay-at-home back then. And we went to church very regularly, Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Sunday school. That was all a part of. So from a very, very early age, I began to learn not just ethics, but I began to learn about Christianity.
Right. And
who Christ was. And so that carried over as I grew older. I went to Union University. I got a heavy dose of religious education at Union. And I think that was just a continuing. Today, I think of, you know, we use the word conversion. I don't think today that in terms of just a single conversion. I think we're constantly being converted. I think St. Francis of Assisi, I read a book that he had written and a book about him, and that was the one thing he learned early in his life was conversion is a continual process. So right. I think you grow in your faith, you grow in your ethics. You've got the foundation, but as an individual, you have to grow.
That's right. I know that you have 5 beautiful, very successful children, mm-hmm. and you have always been very active in church, and you have always been very involved in nonprofits and business and the chamber. Tell me how you juggled all that and why you felt it was so important to get involved in the community.
Well, when we came back to Jackson, Tennessee in December, the first part of December of 1974, we had my wife, when I say we, it's always my wife and I, and the children as they came along. After Union, went to Peabody, worked postgraduate work there, and after postgraduate work, that's when I went into the insurance business. From Nashville, we went to Memphis with the company, then Cincinnati, Ohio with a different company and a whole different experience. It was a very, very large national company, so I saw something different there. I saw planning at a high level. I saw delegation. You know, I remember a project when I first got there. I had to write a book, I say a book, of how to train agents in a particular way. They had a copywriter there available. They had a legal staff. They had people like that that would work with you. So that was another experience of growing. So I've had those opportunities all my life. I've had those opportunities.
And you chose to give back to help others.
Well, when we came back to Jackson, a person that had a tremendous amount of influence, and if you'd say who was a mentor, it was George Smith, George A. Smith. And Mr. George, I used to call him Mr. George. He's been gone for a lot of years, but he was a man, a great businessman, but he was also a man of great faith and family. And he told me, I know when I initially met him, he said, you know, there are two things. You need to get your business set up, and you need to be in a good civic club. And I've got the one for you to be in. That was the Jackson Exchange Club. And he said, you need to find you a good church. And I've got the church that you ought to be involved with. But I think when I look at all the involvements, nonprofits, church, often maybe I did not do what I did for the right reasons. And I look back at it today, it was also to help me personally, and as well as help other people. Now, I've always had this nature that I had to help other people. And I have always had this philosophy that if you help the least, that's where you start. You don't start at the top and go down. You actually start at the bottom and come up. And that's been a very, very core philosophy. Well, it's very natural when you're involved in a community or you look at the community that there's opportunities to get involved with the least. You know, be it people that are hungry, you know, our involvement together so much with children that had been abused, be it children and adults that have disabilities. There's so many ways that you can serve, and there's so much need out there. The church is the foundation. You know, biblically speaking, in the Bible, it talks about being involved in your faith community, whatever that faith community might be. And you get involved by being there, by participating. People see who you are by how you act,
right,
not by
That's
what
right.
you say. And if you keep that in mind, I think not only do you help a lot of people, but you also grow in grace. And my thoughts today, and when I do things today, sometimes I do them for a lot different reason than I did back then. It's much more spiritual, I would say, today. And not that it wasn't spiritual back then. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well or not,
Doing
Pam.
a great job.
Yeah.
Great job. Well, James, you have truly been an inspiration to me, one of my mentors in all my career.
Oh, thank you.
And I can't thank you enough for spending this time and sharing with me and other professionals who strive to do just half the things that you've done and make half the impact that you've made in West Tennessee. So I thank you so much for the interview and appreciate all you have done for us.
Well, I have to say this, Pam. I'm delighted to do this. I'm rather surprised because I really have never thought that I did that much. And when you say that, it makes me feel good, but at the same time, it makes me look back and say, you know, what did I do? So I just never have thought that I did that much.
Well, you have. You've touched thousands of lives and made things happen. So on behalf of all of West Tennessee, we thank you, James. And I will conclude saying James Allison is a West Tennessee treasure, and we have a lot to learn from him in his life. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.